Good morning to you, Martin.
Morning to you, and once again, thank you for being one of the few voices of common sense throughout these dark, dark months.
You're very, very kind. We try, Martin, but I have to say, it's getting harder and harder. We thought that we were told, that 3 weeks to protect the NHS, to flatten the curve. It went on and on and on, and then we went back into another lockdown, last November, and then it was in January. For large parts of the country, they didn't come out of lockdown for the best part of 16, 17 months. And now we're told that even with the rollout of the vaccines, 80% of the people having had the vaccine, the public, I mean, goodness me, what else are we supposed to do? This is being mooted. Now, the government say, look, we're not planning to lock down. But you and I both know there is certainly plans afoot for if we see deaths go above whatever point it is, that they will lock down again. Where are you on this? Because we keep saying that we won't lock down again, and then it keeps happening. What should we do about it?
Well, we've had 3 weeks to flatten the curve, and now they've had 18 months to flatten the economy, destroy morale, and send the public into a never-ending spiral of just not believing a single thing that the government says. I don't trust the vaccine minister on anything he says. He has two positions on lockdowns and two positions on vaccinating children in the same morning during the same round of press. If you believe these people, I think it's really time to wake up. Furlough is meant to be ending on September the 30th, when millions of people who've been tucked up on full pay, sat at home, might suddenly understand the dark times that millions of others who never got a penny have been experiencing this whole time. I think if we head for an October lockdown, we are going to hit the perfect storm of millions of people going onto the dole, a winter of discontent. And what does it say? If lockdowns work, why do we need another one?
Why would we have ever needed another one? Indeed. But also, we've seen around the world, we've seen in Sweden, cases went up, cases came down. No lockdown, no mask mandate, no schools closed and the like. We've seen this in Florida, we've seen it in Texas, we've seen it in India. We see it is Australia, New Zealand, locking down, still seeing cases. I mean, this is the reality. The evidence is incontrovertible. The lockdowns only delay infections rather than actually, end a pandemic. If we lock down again, whatever they call it, and I do have a bet with Nazim Zahawi, the vaccine appointment minister, wouldn't come on my show yesterday, but at a recent event in July, we did have a conversation, and I said to him, we're going to lock down again before the end of the year. And he said, well, after a long hesitation, we won't. And I said, right. Bet for charity, stupidly large bet because I think drink had been taken on my part. But I will never be happier than to write that cheque to charity if we don't. But whatever they call it, children off school for an extra week after missing almost 50% of their lessons in school over the last year. That will be a lockdown.
Yes, it will, and I'm not surprised he didn't come on your show because he's got no leg to stand on. He also said, if you remember, my former Brexit Party colleague, now Baroness Claire Fox, made him publicly admit there'll be no vaccine passports, and then there we are with vaccine passports to get to sporting events, concerts, and I bet you that'll be coming to a pub near you soon. The whole thing is about trust, competency, and leadership. We're not seeing any of the above. We are seeing a huge discontent. The people who organise the freedom marches, I know them well. And I'm telling you, Julia, we are heading towards a perfect storm of tinder and fire and discontent. Yeah. If there's a lockdown in October, I think we're going to see the biggest civil protest in this country since the poll tax.
I will be there. I will 100% be there. I mean, again, the same way about vaccine passports. But this is the thing, isn't it? We see all these protests against things like the vaccine passport and lockdowns around the world. We've seen massive ones in France. There are many others in any other countries, even Australia, New Zealand. People are finally finding their backbones. But so many people seem to just accept these things and say, well, it's what the scientists think. But of course, everyone seems to accept what scientists think, even when the scientists are proven by their own science and their own data to be wrong when it comes to the predictions. Neil Ferguson, how the hell anyone is still giving that man airtime, let alone a job, I find extraordinary. But the thing that I find really scary is how much people are so compliant and just say, oh, okay. People behind the scenes are disagreeing with this. The amount of people I know who send their kids into school in a mask but are quite happy to have sleepovers, who are having parties behind the scenes, by the way, most of the people who work for government, scientists and the like, who all say, oh, it's all far too dangerous for people to be out at work, and yet they're out socialising. But is the fundamental issue that the politicians, the medics, the scientists, all the civil servants, all of those people, all of the media, they're all fine. They're in nice homes, on nice incomes. They've not lost a penny. A lot of them loving working from home. The journalists in the House of Commons have only just returned. They've been at home in their gym jams for the last 18 months. It's not a big deal to them what's been happening. They've been quite enjoying it.
Yeah, and I think that's you've hit the nail on the head. That's your job. And we've had a two-tiered system since the beginning. We were never all in this together, Julia. There are those tucked up on full pay, taking the knee to the holy church of the NHS. Let's follow the science, they said, right until the vaccines people said, well, we don't need to vaccinate children. And then they're not following the science anymore. They're going to override that. That, I think, is the hill that many people are prepared to die on. We've had no political opposition since the beginning. Keir Starmer wants harder, sooner, longer lockdowns. Same with Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London. And we haven't had a political class worthy of the name. We need a political resistance. We need a revolution against this. That's why I've been drawn back into politics as Deputy Leader Lawrence Fox's Reclaim Party. You know, when I got drawn into politics for the first time, I was no politician. I was a journalist, a commentator from the sidelines. I had to get involved with the Brexit referendum where they tried to crush the democratic vote, the will of the people. This, Julia, I think it's worse.
Oh, completely.
I think the pandemic is making Brexit look like a tea party, a starter to a main course of revolution. We've got to rise up against this. They've paid people, they've paid them off. The government have been the biggest advertiser in the media all the way along. The media won't bite the hand that feeds it, with rare exceptions, such as yourself. We've got to join hands and force against this now. If we don't kick back now, Julia, it's going to be too late. And once liberty is gone, it doesn't return. It's a one-way ratchet. We've got to fight back, and now is the time.
Martin Daubney, I think there'll be a lot of people cheering you on as you say that. Martin Daubney, Deputy Leader of the Reclaim Party.